Ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, we have some information for you today. This is Eric from thewasteland.com, by the way, in case you don't recognize my beautiful visage before you. I was thinking actually about, in the future, I will probably make some like actual storyboarded videos. I have some good ideas for that. But in the meantime, you get just whatever comes off the top of my head based on what I've seen on the internet. And what I've seen on the internet is kind of interesting because I mean, it's a glimpse into our future, one possible future. I don't know tech stuff. As we descend even further and further into third world, well, probably more like second world status, to be more correct. I really feel like, and I've said this for years, that I feel like our future is not necessarily a collapse in the way that most preppers would envision it, but just descending into what could be described as a second world country, like Mexico and Russia and these other places are now and have been for the past few years. I don't think we're going to end up like Somalia or something, although that possibility is always out there, depending on how crazy things get. But we can look into these other countries, see how things happen and devolve with the currencies and the financial systems and just infrastructure and government and corruption and anything. And one of the things that has come up, and we've already seen, echoes or shadows of this in the US before, is the way that the currency devaluation causes weird arbitrages with the actual physical construction of the currency. So like Kyle Bass from Heyman Capital Management made a headline years ago buying like $2 million worth of nickels or something because the metal in the nickels is worth more than the face value of the currency. It's been that way for a while with pennies made before 82, I think, that the copper is worth more than a penny. And I just saw this article about how in, I believe it's Argentina, one of their 2 peso coins and now has 12 pesos worth of metal in it. It's a bimetallic coin, and the video shows a guy knocking it apart to take out the part that, using like a center punch of some kind to, or a cold chisel, whatever they're called, to punch out the part that has the metal value. And some people do that in the prepper community. So obviously I think this is, there's more of this in our future. It's already happened to some extent with our currency. It's only going to continue to get worse. I do think that we are probably going to move away from physical currency. The government's going to try to, for this reason among many. But we already saw the coin shortages mysteriously happen during COVID. But I think preppers see this and they see it as like an easy win to like stock coins. I think it's a waste of time for the most part, because I don't think there's any environment where the physical metal in a nickel is going to go up so much that it's easy or worth it to find a way to melt down the nickels that things like this silver bar or this amazing gold buffalo. I love the edges on these. They're so crisp. I feel like I could shave with them or something, like sharp almost. But in any environment where that's happening with the currency, I think it would have been always better to take that same amount of money, like that $1 million that Kyle Bass put into nickels, and just put it into precious metals. I think it's probably worth more now if you put it into silver or gold at the time than if you put it in nickels, specifically because of the difficulty that you'll have in extracting that margin, that arbitrage. So say the nickel value in a nickel goes up to $1 per nickel. Like, what do you do now? Where you go? Who's going to take all these nickels? Are you going to have to ship it to them? You're probably pay some sort of reverse premium in the fact they won't give you full melt value because they have to go through the process of melting it down, pulling off all these other metals through the refinement process. Whereas in any environment where that's happening with the commodities and coins, it's going to be happening with all the other metals and commodities too, specifically my favorite, gold and silver. So that's my recommendation. I know we're going to see this in the future. It's definitely something that you are certainly not going to lose money on, but to the extent that the amount of money or the amount of value that you lose in, say, $100 worth of currency that's stored in nickels might overshadow the amount that you gain in the melt value of the metals, especially in this like current stagflation environment. I looked at copper and it's only like $2.50 a pound or something like that. It's crazy. I know the amount of money that you get for aluminum cans these days is like worse than when I was a teenager. It's insane, or certainly it's not enough more to justify all the other increases in cost of living and just costs in general. So let me know what you guys think if you've done anything like that. I used to separate them out because I just felt like it was an easy win. Like, why would I not separate them out? But then I'm like, what am I going to do with this giant jar of pennies that even still only has a few dollars worth of copper in it? Copper would have to go up by 100 times to make that worth anything, and then I still have to go through the process of trying to extract that value by melting it down or finding someone who's going to melt it down, when I could almost said just as easily, but much more easily put that money into precious metals and probably not just keep pace with inflation, but gain all. Because the copper doesn't have the monetary component to it that gold, certainly, and to a lesser extent, silver does. So you're counting on just the increase in the commodities, which I think will happen. But like I said, in that environment, there's no way that gold and silver, I think, aren't still the easier play. And depending on when you're watching this, don't forget that up until the 22nd, I believe, I'm still running the giveaway of the huge bug out bag full of $1,500 worth of preparedness gear. So be sure to enter that, give yourself a chance to win. There is only several hundred people have entered at this point, and with a few days left, just basically through the weekend. So you've got a decent chance if you get in there. So I definitely want all my guys to win, but only one can, so make sure you're signed up. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you later.